The night was getting late, but the filming location was getting crowded. Spotlights illuminated the set to its corners, creating a dramatic atmosphere as if time had stopped just for Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai. From behind the camera, the director gave direction with a firm voice, but my focus could not be separated from the expressions of the two. That day, the scene they were about to perform was one of the most anticipated scenes in the drama. A moment full of tension that culminated in the first touch between the main male and female characters. Fans who have read the leaked script know that this is the turning point in the two characters' relationship, but what they don't know is how the intimacy feels so real behind the scenes. I stood near the director's monitor, noting detail after detail. The camera highlights Linghe's face, which should show deep concern for Jinmai's character. The scene begins with Linghe pulling Jinmai into her arms to protect her from the danger created by the special effects. And that's where something happened. As soon as Jinmai's body came into his arms, Linghe lowered his head slightly, his face so close to Jinmai's forehead. It should have been just a brief hug as directed, but Linghe held back longer. Much longer. As if he had forgotten there were dozens of crew members watching. I saw how Linghe's big hand gently pressed against Jinmai's back, giving a sense of security, but at the same time sending out a clear affectionate signal. Jinmai himself seemed surprised, but then he closed his eyes for a moment, allowing himself to be in that embrace. "Cut!" exclaimed the director. Interestingly, however, the two did not break away immediately. It took an additional 1-2 seconds before Jinmai retreated slowly, his face blushing red. Fans who watched from behind the guardrail immediately excited. Some screamed a little, others immediately closed their mouths so as not to be caught by the guards. One of the fans near me even whispered with a shudder, "Oh my God, that was real. I'm sure he really likes Jimmy." And I can't argue. What I just saw was too sincere for mere acting. After a short break, I slipped a little closer. That's when I saw Linghe reach for the manuscript Jinmai was holding. He pretended to read, but clearly he was more interested in seeing Jinmai's face that was seriously lowered. "Have you memorized this part?" asked Linghe lightly. "There's still a little something wrong," Jinmai replied slowly. Linghe then sat down beside him, so close that their shoulders touched. From my corner, I could clearly see how Linghe was deliberately approaching, as if looking for an excuse to stay by Jinmai's side. What made the atmosphere even hotter was when Linghe started correcting Jinmai's dialogue with a gentle tone. He did not just read. He whispered the words very close to Jinmai's ear, to the point that his long hair had swayed exposed to his breath. Jinmai was silent for a moment, then smiled shyly. I'm sure that moment was also captured by one of the behind-the-scenes cameras. And if it is really released, you can be sure that the fans will explode with excitement. The fans around him couldn't keep quiet. They tried to hold back the screams, but the excited whispers could not be contained. Someone immediately wrote on social media, "Guys, I saw it myself." Zhang Linghe literally stuck to Jinmai's script rehearsal time. Not acting. No. I repeat, not acting. Hashtags began to appear even before the filming was over. However, the culmination of this part occurs when the director asks them to do a repetition scene. This time, hugs should be displayed more emotionally. Linghe didn't waste a chance. As soon as action sounded, he immediately pulled Jinmai into his arms tighter than before. Her face was pressed against Jinmai's hair, and from that position, the camera captured a moment that seemed truly intimate. I even heard a small murmur from one of the camera crew. "Wow, this is like really falling in love, not filming." When the director returned shouting, "Cut!" the atmosphere did not melt immediately. Linghe remained close to Jinmai, his hand slowly going down her arm, stroking as if reluctant to let go. Jinmai blushed, lowered his head, then tried to move away with a small laugh to cover his embarrassment. I know the fans outside the fence must be crazy. And sure enough, that night the social media was full of blurry photos from the phone's camera. Linghe hugging Jinmai, Linghe smiling when she looked at him, and Jinmai looking misbehaving. Everything feels like a real scene that goes beyond the limits of the script. I, as a source who watched from a close distance, can confirm one thing. The two of them are no longer just colleagues. There is a feeling that slowly grows, and the camera is just a silent witness of something bigger. That night, once filming was over, the atmosphere of the location was still crowded even though the lights had begun to be extinguished. The crew was busy cleaning up the equipment, the supporting actors one by one left the set, but the public spotlight was still on only two people, Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai. I was still standing near the guardrail when a group of fans started exchanging footage from their phones. Despite the ban on filming, there were still those who managed to capture intimate moments between the two. Joyful little voices began to be heard. I got the video when I saw the video. Seriously? Take a look at Dong. Oh my god. It's so obvious. He even smiled to himself when Jinmai looked down. Crazy. This is real. From a distance, I could see some fans almost crying for joy. They've been waiting a long time for real proof that their idols have chemistry beyond the script. And that night, the evidence was present so clearly, as if the universe was blessing. It didn't take long before social media started going viral. On Weibo, the hashtag Zhang Linghe Zhao Jinmai behind the scenes shot to trending in just over an hour. The blurry video recorded by fans showing the tight embrace was watched hundreds of thousands of times in an instant. Comments popping up endlessly. I can't breathe. It was a real hug, not an act. Zhang Linghe is clearly in love. His eyes can't lie. If they're really dating, I'll support them wholeheartedly. Their chemistry is more intense behind the scenes than in front of the camera. As a source, I'm actually used to these kinds of rumors. The world of entertainment is full of speculation, especially if it involves a popular couple who is on the rise. However, this time it was different. Usually, gossip only starts from ordinary photos or just assumptions. But now, there is visual evidence, there is such a vivid moment, and there is an emotional reaction from fans that cannot be extinguished. I again recalled the moment when Linghe held Jinmai longer in an embrace. It's not just a need of the scene. It was a sincere reflex of the heart. And that's what makes fans even more convinced that behind the scenes there are other stories that are being woven. The next day, the atmosphere on the set was heating up. The media began to arrive, trying to get confirmation or at least a comment on the part of the agency. However, both Linghe and Jinmai's manager chose silence. They only smiled stiffly when asked by reporters. Fans, on the contrary, are going wild with their speculations. The fanbase groups on various platforms were full of analysis. Some noticed the way Linghe looked at Jinmai, some reviewed Jinmai's embarrassed expression, some even compared it to other scenes in the drama. I've been their shipper since the beginning, but this is the first time I feel 100% sure they have a real relationship, one fan wrote on a large forum. On the next set, the atmosphere became unique. Fans who came not only wanted to see the filming process, but also hoped to witness the continuation of the intimate interaction of the two. And they were not disappointed. During the lunch break, I saw with my own eyes how Linghe was carrying a tray full of food. On it is a bowl of hot soup and a couple of snacks. He walked straight towards Jinmai, who was sitting with the staff. With a small smile, he put the tray in front of him. "This is for you. I just saw you haven't eaten yet," Linghe said slowly. Jinmai turned his head, slightly shocked but clearly touched. He smiled softly, his eyes sparkling. "Thank you, Zhang Ji." The staff sitting around them pretended not to see, even though they all clearly felt that the atmosphere was so sweet. From my point of view, I even saw Jinmai lowered his head in shame, while Linghe casually sat beside him. Fans who saw from afar again exploded. Their cell phone cameras were raised, trying to capture the moment even from behind the fence. I can hear the restrained screams. "He's bringing food for the kids. Stop, I can't see them anymore. Why don't they all agree?" It all feels like drama within drama. The scenes captured on camera for the public are only a small part, while the behind-the-scenes moments are much more romantic. The most horrendous thing was when the evening circulated a photo. Linghe and Jinmai laughing together while sharing one small umbrella in the pouring rain. The photo was taken secretly by a fan who happened to still be around the location. Although the quality is a bit blurry, but it is clearly visible their closeness. Linghe held an umbrella, while Jinmai walked very close by his side, as if seeking protection. The media immediately swallowed the photo whole. Articles appearing. Real chemistry or love of location. Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai were caught on set. Fans splashy. A small umbrella, a big smile, and love gossip that can't be covered up. Zhang Linghe Zhao Jinmai. From a co-worker to a secret partner? As a source, I know these rumors will be hard to quell. The more they are silent, the more fans are convinced that there is something to hide. But even more surprising was Jinmai's own reaction. Usually, young actresses will be awkward or keep their distance for the sake of avoiding gossip. But Jinmai didn't seem to mind. He remained relaxed, often even laughing with Linghe without trying to cover up. It made fans even more convinced. Such a sense of comfort is possible only when there is a relationship of more than just work friends. And I, who watched everything at close range, could only smile. I knew I was witnessing the beginning of a story that many would talk about for a long time.